Oh, he's feeling the music today.
Doing this is my Aunt Margaret.
I see that.
Cleavage.
We're just waiting for Instagram to catch up, and if it doesn't catch up, then I can't. Let's see if I can get a different Instagram feed going.
Have I ever showed you my friend Wesley's imitation of a Muppet? He does it so much better than me, but here it is.
You do it for the folks at home while I try and get this live feed set up to
Here it is, ready?
go for it.
Because that's how they walk. He does it better, I tell you.
All right, we're going to do a new stream key for Instagram, and we're going to input it over here.
Oh, it's 1 o'clock!
This one, we're going.
Yay!
Okay, Instagram, you are being a real pain in the ass today. You are just being such pain.
This is the shit we have to work out in advance. Well, we. Like I do anything. Chop, chop.
I am just going to remove Instagram because it's annoying
Pain
me,
in our ass.
and
It's being a pain in our ass today.
it is being a pain in our ass.
In our
All
collective
right.
ass.
Oh my God, Laura's here over on TikTok. Hi, Laura. Welcome.
Laura.
The Working Actor NYC. That's Patrick Richwood.
It's Benjamin House over there.
All right.
All right. That's just as a Benjamin House as you can get over there. You're so Benjamin-y today.
Hey, I
Yeah.
agree with you. I might be a little too warm in this sweater, but for now, it's what we got. It's what we got. It's a beautiful spring day here in the Nueva York.
It is a beautiful spring day. It's just a little cool, which is nice.
If you're out in it.
That lovely. Yeah, when you come around a corner, it's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Ooh, that made parts of me stand up and pay attention. Ooh.
Yeah, but then at the same time, like all other New Yorkers, you're like, it's just a breeze. It's just a breeze. I don't need a jacket.
So let's get stuck into it. How was your week? What's your field report from the week? What did you do? What did you learn?
Well, I was trying to think of a field report that I went and did and learned. And, the only thing I could think of was that I saw some shows and that I realized that you learn so much more from the ones that don't work than the ones that do. But then I remembered 2 Wednesdays ago, I did a panel. I completely forgot about this. I don't even believe we've talked about this. My friend Robin teaches, she's her master's in the arts, but she teaches a course on happiness. And she asked me if I'd be a panel. She was doing it for all artists. Zoom, on Zoom. And so I did. And mostly I just listened, believe it or not. But I was astounded to realize after the fact, like the next day I was doing I do my morning pages, Julia Cameron, that's 3 pages. And I realized if there was one theme that was so prevalent in this thing on happiness, it was just about every artist I've ever met is harder on themselves than people in any other faction of
Field or
society.
profession? In what?
Yeah, I mean, we're so hard on ourselves in the way that we judge ourselves. Like there was one girl who she works all the time. I mean, she never stops working, and on television. And she, if you turn on the TV, you'd be like, oh, I know her. I've seen her in a million things. She's so hard on herself. She just can't believe when people say, God, you were good in that thing, that they're not just pretending. Like she thinks they're just like, okay. Or when you say, well, you look really great today. She's like, come on. You know what I mean? She does not allow herself. She's you know, obviously, like all of us, she's working on her tools, and everybody was. But I just realized in that conversation after the fact how hard I am on myself as an
Right.
actor, and how hard we are on ourselves as actors. You know, I can't count how many times I've been working with someone, and the director says one little thing, and they're down a rabbit hole. Oh, jeez,
We'll have to
how
do
could
a
they do
we'll
that?
have to do a whole episode about that. I welcome to everybody who's watching. I see you over on TikTok. If you want the full shenanigans, head to the link in my bio, the office hours in the green room in the link tree, so that you can click that first link, and it'll send you right over here so you can see the full shenanigans, Patrick's beautiful face, and all of our valued assets. Yeah, we'll have to do an episode about how to tools and strategies for giving yourself some
Being so
great.
hard on yourself. But the thing that
Yeah.
I came away with as my field report was, take it easy on yourself, Patrick. Take a look at where you're being so harsh. You're such a harsh critic. I would never say any of the things that my brain says to me in the background
Uh-huh.
to a child or to a coachee or to a friend. I just
Right.
wouldn't. You know what I mean? I would never be
I
that
I
strict.
have you ever used an evidence file? Like, I have an evidence file. It's like when those voices start telling me how crappy I am, I do have to go to the evidence file and say, "Oh, right. You have been in 3 Broadway shows. Right. You have."
Oh,
Do you know what I
an
mean? Like,
evidence file. That's a good thing. I love that.
yeah.
That's a great
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
idea. I know
This
I
was
do have I never call it an evidence file, but I do have a file drawer full of things that I treasure because they're like expressions of gratitude or love from other people.
uh-huh.
And that can take the form of a letter that I got from someone who saw me in something, or it could be a friend who wrote me something lovely,
Yeah.
or any number of things in there. And it's really it's a feel good drawer. So I like that you call it the evidence drawer, because
The
that's
evidence
really
file,
the
yeah,
evidence
and I
file.
mean,
Yeah,
I have emails that I've kept, so I can refer to
that's
them. I have
nice. That's nice.
voicemails that I've kept just so I can refer to them, just to remind myself.
That's really nice. In fact, that's a great tool
But
to counteract the
yeah,
critic. You know, the critic.
we'll do a whole episode about it. Hey, my field report was that I didn't have a lot scheduled this week, but at the beginning of the week, I went to a screening of a really small independent film called Putty Sticks, and it was
Putty sticks. Putty
P with a
sticks.
P, Putty
Oh, putty
Sticks.
sticks. Putty sticks.
And
Okay.
I believe it's a made up word. And just a small independent film screening, about 25, 30 people. And I got chatting with some of them. And it made me realize that each arm of being an actor, each genre in the industry, like, I like to think, oh, I'm an actor. I do plays, I do musicals, I do TV, I do film. All of those different worlds or arms or genres, they have their own ecosystem, their own infrastructure. And I
Mhm.
am way better versed in plays and musicals and the infrastructure and relationships that go along with those than I am in film and television. And it really got me thinking that, for example, when I first moved to America over 25 years ago, I did not know the repertoire, because in Australia, we don't have regional theaters just pumping out shows every summer so that you can go and see them and get familiar with Damn Yankees or City of Angels, or whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
So
Uh-huh.
I just didn't know the
There's
repertoire.
not
So
a
I
thing
spent a
like
lot
that.
of time going down rabbit holes and doing my homework and doing my research. And I realized that as I am wanting to get deeper into the world of television, for example, I haven't done the same research. I cannot
Ah.
I cannot tell you what's on television. I can barely tell you what's on television right now,
Yeah,
because
we've
given
talked
my
about this.
druthers, I will be out doing something or working on something, and I'm not sitting in front of the television watching shows. And that is to my detriment, because here I am saying, "Hey, I belong on television." And casting director says to me, "Great. What shows do you see yourself in?"
Tick, crickets, crickets.
Um, The Nanny. I'd be a great butler on The Nanny.
different strokes. Um,
The literally Downton Abbey. I mean, these are not
Petticoat
current
Junction. Oh,
references.
Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island. I see myself on Gilligan's Island. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really
Yeah.
true. Yeah, and you think of it like I guess we think of it like, well, I don't have time, but if we think of it like research or homework,
That
or
part.
what I like to call discovery. I had a teacher for 7 years she calls it homework, doing what the actor does, the work we do at home to
Yeah.
develop and get rich and full, and also the work we do on a play or a script at home that we're not able to do on the set, right? The in-depth work, and we can do it on the set too, but she calls it all homework. And I never liked the term homework. It was a turnoff for me because in school I never had the attention span for homework. I really, it became like not an empowering thing. But a friend of mine who's a lawyer was telling me about discovery work that they do, which is they
In the
go
legal
in,
world. Yeah.
they do in depth, like Sherlock Holmes, that shit about aspects of their witnesses and shit. So, and it's called discovery. That I liked
Yeah.
because that inspires me. And I guess it's the same thing, isn't it? It's like we could set aside an hour or two every week to do discovery work and see
Yeah.
what's on and who
We
casts it and
we
who's
had
on it
a
and
we had a
style of
house
it.
guest. We had a house guest stay with us for 2 nights, and so I mentioned this to her, and she said, "Oh, there's this really great show that I like." And so we ended up watching an episode of a show called High Potential. Never heard of it before. It's like it's a show out of LA, and it's got sort of procedural vibes to it, but it is actually it is actually a series. It's not, each episode is not a standalone episode. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoy watching television when I sit down and do it.
Yeah. I know. I know. I used to pride myself on the fact that I didn't have a TV, but that was when you knew what every show was.
Well, it was
Now
so, yeah,
there's just such a
so
huge
much
spectrum,
content,
the
so much
scope of it. Yeah.
product.
And it's
Yeah.
all so good. Even when you go like on TikTok, you go, oh my God, the talent that
Yeah.
people have is so shocking to me. The talent that's out there that no one would see if it weren't for platforms like TikTok.
It just sort of reminds you that
Amazing.
there is so much acting to be done in the world.
Yeah.
And in fact, this prompted a question from one of our viewers, listeners. Here we go. Here's a video question from one of our viewers.
A couple of weeks ago, we had the chance to interact, and
Oh, he's
I
not
told you
showing
that
up.
I'm 65
I
years
see him.
old.
You can see
I
him.
see
Oh,
him.
I can.
Former theater major in college. My life took a different direction, but now I'm thinking about trying to get back into the industry now that I'm retired. And I just had some questions and thoughts. Is that a crazy idea? Even though I'd be competing against guys like you with gobs of experience and whatnot. And I'm in Philadelphia, not the East or West Coast, New York, LA. But I'm just interested in your thoughts and what advice you would give to an older newbie. And appreciate any thoughts you'd have.
Okay. Well, that was Ronnie from TikTok. And first of all, yes, it is a crazy idea. It's crazy, right? And welcome to the madhouse.
Welcome to our world, Ronnie.
Welcome to our world.
I kind of love Ronnie. I kind of am now a little bit in love with Ronnie because already he's got the goods, because look how vulnerable he was just making that thing completely open, completely honest, completely vulnerable, completely authentic.
Vulnerable.
And you're like,
Yeah.
well, if you're going to be that way in auditions, Ronnie, welcome, because you're going to book, you're going to do very well, because you're
100.
not, you know what I mean? You're authentic. It's so interesting. It's very interesting, because who says you have to start at 20? Especially in acting, when there are characters at every age. It's like, why not start now? Why not
Good
follow
evening.
your heart?
Yeah. And I sort of feel, in a way, starting at 65 is kind of an advantage.
Is that what he said he was? 65?
Yeah, he said he was 65 and he's retired, and he was a theater major in college, but his life took a different path. And I sort of feel as though at 65, you know who you are. And I think that the trouble with actors is that we spend so much time being everybody else and thinking that we can do anything and not, buttoning ourselves in, we become sort of less specific, and we have to refine our specificity in order to become more more of a solution, more useful to the industry. And I sort of feel like Ronnie's got a leg up on the rest of us. So
Well, not me. I'm 63. I'm right behind you, Ronnie. But I do think you're right. I think you're right. It's like the more I used the word authentic before, and I think that's probably the word that's the best to use for me is the more authentic we are as artists, even facing our fears and then bringing them into the work, the better. Even if it's a comedy. I've said this many times before, but my friend Danielle says it the best. There's nothing funnier than a person in crisis. And if you can bring some piece of the vulnerability or the like, what am I doing, to comedy, it sings. It flies off the, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's the same
yeah,
with drama. I just feel like the actors that I'm interested in are the ones that bring their authentic selves to whatever they're doing. And those are the ones I keep watching over and over
yeah,
again,
yeah.
you know?
I sort of feel as though Ronnie was probably expecting us to be a little more practical in our advice to him.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
we
if you
could
see
get there. We could
Philadelphia,
go
there
there.
are, and the thing wasn't able to get from what he was talking about is whether he's interested in TV and
That's
film,
true.
whether he's interested in commercials, whether he's interested in theater. And I mean, really, the advice is you won't know if you're going to love it until you start doing it. You have to just sort of launch yourself in some sort of a way. Particularly with theater in the Philly region, there's some great theaters there who would love to meet you. Of course,
Yeah, that's what
first
I
step.
was thinking too. Theater. He spoke about, and that's true. As like, maybe he won't have that financial weight on his shoulders of like, oh my God, I got a book,
You have to
because he's
it takes
retired.
that load off your shoulders. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, Ronnie mentioned New York and LA, which was making me wonder if he thought he wanted to get into film and TV. And I was going to suggest get into theater, start with theater, because it's so communal and you can get really sink your teeth into stuff and start working and get start getting your chops
community. Yeah,
up or back. Yeah. And then start worrying about, or start thinking about, what kinds of contracts you want to do. But if I were him, I would get right into the context as quickly as possible. I would get right into like, well, where can I get around other actors and be an actor? Start auditioning for Community, if he's a member. I'm guessing he's not a member of the union because he hasn't been pursuing it all this time. But so start
I would
looking at the
assume not.
trades,
Yeah.
start looking online for, where do people look for non-union work? In the trade, are there still backstage and stuff like that? I actually don't
On
know.
Actors Access, yeah, they all have non-union jobs available as well. So yeah, actorsaccess.com is definitely lists non-union work as well as union work. You can filter that from theater, TV, film. You can filter those searches so that you can find what it is that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's been so long since I went up for a non-union because I was there when they laid the first stone. God.
Oy, oy, oy. Hi, friends over on TikTok. Hey, friends over on TikTok, if you want to see the full shenanigans, head to the link in my bio. The first link is the office hours in the green room, and that's where we are over here. So come join us. Come and see what
you can see us wide.
What Patrick looks like.
You can see us.
It's not terrifying at all.
Jealous.
Yeah,
just
seriously.
jealous. Always been jealous.
But it's interesting that feeling that at 65, about to launch yourself into your career. I don't think it matters what age we are and where we ever are in our careers. I think a lot of us feel behind. And that's sort of what we wanted to sort of structure our discussion around today, was the feeling that actors always feel behind. Have you ever felt like that?
Oh yeah, either I'm behind in terms of like I gotta catch up, or behind in terms of like I feel like I've been left behind. Like wait for me. You know what I mean? There's different kinds of feeling behind, but the one I think you're talking about is like, I gotta catch up. I gotta like do more or somehow, yeah, I do. I mean, I recognize that for me anyway, as
Yeah.
not necessarily at all the truth. Like that's a story in my noggin that
Well,
keeps me, for me, that keeps me like, you know, actually it doesn't do me much. It doesn't do me much good. It doesn't necessarily, you know what I mean? Like I guess I automatically turn it into motivation. How does
well,
it
I
serve
was just
you?
going to say, I mean, I guess I did it to myself a bit this week, and it wasn't so much feeling like, oh my God, I'm behind and panicking about it. It was just that realization that, oh, I have research to do in this area, and I'm not sad or mad about it, and I don't necessarily feel behind. I have always been a late bloomer, so
Me
I
too.
figure it out as I go, and I do the work, and I get there. But I mean, the really an acting career doesn't run on a schedule. So, but we keep trying to put it on one. It's like we think that there's a correct way to be doing it, and it's like everybody's timeline is different.
It's like
And I
that
mean,
line in the chorus line when Sheila goes, "Oh, I said I gotta be on Broadway by the time I'm 25." And then when I was 25, it's like I gotta be on Broadway before I'm 30. Or we keep doing that thing to ourselves, like
yeah.
setting a limit,
And I mean,
as if
really,
it's the truth.
because we compare our progress by other people's progress. We're
That's
comparing our progress by other people's yardsticks. And I think
yeah,
social media has I think social media, I think that has always existed. Social media has made it worse.
yeah. I agree with you. Your ruler is different than my yardstick, and I mean, your yardstick is different than my yardstick.
Honey,
And
they say a lot of things about my yardstick.
you know what I'm trying to say. I knew you were
I
going to
don't
go
know
there. I knew you
why
were going to
it
go there. I
sounded dirty
didn't
to me.
correct myself soon enough. Talk about comparisons. Oh my God. But you know what? If you think about it, you're absolutely right. The comparison, the feeling of feeling behind, um,
Oh,
can't.
thanks, Brian. We're happy you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brian. Good you're here. The
The feeling
feeling
of being behind.
that you're behind really kind of can't exist without living in the world of comparison. You don't have that if you're not comparing yourself to, and because behind in what sense? Like by whose standard, right?
Right,
And there's
right.
not a timetable there's not a wall, bulletin board on some, universal wall that says, if you're not here by the 8 o'clock p.m., you're fired. You know what I mean? And so it's really comes down to that comparison. And what is comparison if not based on anything but the present?
Right.
It's the one place that you don't do that in. It's the present. And what are we always saying? You and I are always coming back to the realization, like the best work we do, whether it's behind the scenes or on the scene,
Uh-huh.
in advance or after the fact, is finding ways and using tools to be in the present. As actors, we keep coming back to that theme.
Yeah, yeah,
And here it is again. It's
yeah,
right here,
yeah. I
And
mean,
and that speaks to Ronnie too, because it's like, okay, you're 65, but you're right now. Like this is your right now.
yeah.
What else you gonna do? You know, kind of
I'm sure
feeling.
Ronnie has a very full, active life, and he has a million things to do. But it's interesting that
No, yeah,
he's thinking like, oh, this is something I've always wanted to do. And I mean, you'll never know until you actually do it, unless you're in it at the moment. This is the
yeah.
present,
I didn't mean to make it sound like I don't think Ronnie has a full life. I do,
No,
of course, but I meant, what else are you gonna do in terms of that choice, right? You can either say well, I'm not gonna make that choice, and kind of like be back. Once
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
genie's out
yeah.
of the bottle. He's gonna go forward.
Yeah.
Just gonna
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but the trap for a lot of people, I think, in this sense, is that social media means that we're sort of watching other people's highlight reels and they're not posting videos about their 10 years of waiting tables.
Right.
They're not. Social media turns careers into scoreboards, like, because you just put the wins up on the
It's
board.
yeah,
uh
human
you know
nature. It's my perfect life syndrome. And what's interesting is I've noticed there's a trend in the last, I'm going to say, actually probably 10 years, come to think of it, that seems like it used to be prior to that. Actors, big stars, never talked about auditions. They never talked about how they got there or the ones they didn't get. They really only talked about it like, oh yeah, they offered me this, or I did that, or I chose to do this, or I said yes to that. And only in the last 10 or 12 years, I feel like, have actors been young enough and universal enough because of social media and more sort of in the world and not in a bubble, that they talk about the auditions. They talk about,
right.
oh yeah, I had to audition for that 5 times before I got it, or I didn't think I was going to get it, or oh yeah, that director had me in for 5 things before I got something, and that's refreshing to me because it's like it shows people they weren't born there.
Right.
You
And
know,
those are,
they
and it's, how do I say this? You're talking about people who are well known, who are household names and whatever. I mean, who are now currently household names, may not always have been that way, may have been
That's what I'm
toiling away
trying
in
to
the industry.
say. That's what I'm
Exactly
trying to
right.
say. They're
But I
saying they're
mean,
calling that
the
out.
other thing I would love to point out to people is that you don't have to be Timothy Chalamet famous to be working as an actor, to be, that's not
Oh God, no.
that's not the goal, right? The goal is that you enjoy the process of acting and you get to do it in all kinds of different ways and in all kinds of different genres and at all kinds of different levels. Just because somebody is famous enough to be a household name, it doesn't mean that you're behind them. If you're doing the work, you're doing your work. That's your progress. That's your career.
It's your life. Yeah. I mean,
It's
it's your life all the way, all the way around. You can use this. You can kind of use this same formula for everything. There's people that kind of get panicked if they haven't gotten married by a certain time. There's people who get
sure.
panicked if they aren't at this level of job or making this level of yearly salary at a certain time or that kind of thing. And so I guess it's human nature in a way. It's like we
Yeah.
compare ourselves. But in the arts, it's particularly sometimes comparing in some professions, comparing yourself is what drives people to that. It's that competitive edge thing. In the arts, I think it's the death of creativity, kind of.
Yeah.
This measuring up to other people is happening for everyone. It's just worse in the performance. Yes, that's exactly
Is
what
it
I'm
just worse
saying
in
right now.
performance?
S.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly
Yeah.
what I'm saying. We're on the exact same wavelength. It's happening everywhere, but for creatives, it's it's really a detriment to our what we actually do. In other, like if you're a stockbroker, it might be a strong suit that you're
Uh-huh.
so that you're comparing it to, like get that edge, get that edge. But in the performance world, it doesn't really work to our benefit. It cuts it's like this, like a stranglehold on the flow of creativity, I
Yeah.
think, except for the rare case where someone knows how to turn it into um a creative energy. But
Do you think that
that's hard to find.
air of competition somehow becomes a creative impetus? Is that what you mean? I guess
Yeah,
for a
there's
few
people that
people,
can do
there
that.
are
There's
people.
people who
Yeah.
can do that, but that's rare. I think
Well,
that's rare.
this always, for some reason, this just always reminds me. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, when they were before they became famous, were auditioning for all kinds of projects at a very high level, and neither of them booked. Oh God, somebody out here knows this whole story. I can't remember the name of the film, but they both auditioned for the lead role in a film, and Ethan Hawke booked it, and neither of them did. And that was why they then went and wrote Good Will Hunting,
Yeah,
because they were
that's
trying to get there, and they couldn't get there on their. They weren't booking all of the things that they wanted to book. They were booking some stuff, but I just sort of thought, yeah, if that sense of
yeah.
competition spurs you into creativity in a way, I don't know, there is some value
Well, I
to
think
it.
Yeah, there's value to it. There is, as long as
But only for
first
those
of all,
people for whom it's not going to be something that shuts them down. If it's going to be something that
yeah.
opens you up, that's
Well,
great.
there's a couple of specifics about their story. The most important one, I think, being they did it together. They
Yeah.
didn't do it. Neither of them were in a vacuum when they did that. They
Uh-huh.
bonded together and did it. That's one of the massive contributing factors to having it be a positive rather than just a I'll get,
Yeah.
there's a fine line between turning that measure into creative juice and thinking you're turning it into creative juice, but you're really just fostering more kind of separationist thinking. If two people do it together, there's a real thing that happens. It's so much more powerful. And they had they were working so well together. They had a shorthand. The other thing is they were not in their late 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s.
They were kids. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess they were in their mid 20s or late 20s. I don't know, but
I think early to mid. Yeah. These were young roles. Yeah.
but they had, I think when we're a little younger, we don't have as many. You were talking about the evidence file, right? With the evidence of all the good stuff. Well, we also keep evidence. We don't know it, but we keep evidence files of all the bad stuff.
Well, it's easier to recall those.
People have the same file for the bad stuff. We just don't know it. Doesn't have a label on it, but really that's true. People are constantly referring to the negative evidence file all the time in the background of their minds. And it's funny because it's like they don't have as much of that. The larger file you have for the failures, the greater chance you won't turn that into creative juice. That's why I say it's rare, because in this broad scope of actors out here, artists out here, there's only a portion that are that age. There's a much larger portion that are older than them, and also feeling like they're in a vacuum. A big problem with actors is we feel like we're in a vacuum.
Right.
That's why when we get in a class or we get in a workshop or we get in a show or on a job, it's so much more flow starts happening because we're no longer like in this like cell. You know what I mean?
You got it, S. I'm realizing that this industry is all about working together, and it's true. I mean, every TV show that wins an award, they always say what a great crew they have, the community that they create. It really is. It doesn't matter which arm of the industry.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say I'd like to thank all the little people who made this possible, whose names I don't recall.
Have you ever seen early success in an actor fizzle out because they didn't know how to sustain themselves, or they were doing it and thinking that the success was always going to be there? I sort of wonder about this, sort of, if early success is an illusion. It's sort
Are
of.
you asking as a joke?
No. I mean, do you know people for whom that has happened?
Me.
Wait.
Have we not been talking for a year and two? Me, totally me. God. Yeah, because I had all this early success. I mean, by the time I was 18, I was on a national tour of an equity show on a production contract. Then I was, my first summer stock job was as a principal in a really new play that won me a major, massive award in the theater.
Okay.
And then I was in my first off-Broadway show, got me all this attention from all these casting directors. So it was like,
okay.
And then I went
so it sounds like you're having success after success after success. It's like, where's the...
It was right. This was all by the time I was 26, I was on a TV series.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to go that way forever. I had no idea. And I did not know anything about managing that or structuring it or being strategic. I've never been very good at being strategic. I was just flying by the seat of my pants. And so I definitely watched a change happen where I was like, I should have picked that ball up, and run with it while I had it. While it was in my hand, I should have kept running with it. I thought I could put it down and rest. You know what I mean?
I see. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting it now. Yeah. It's sort of that momentum that you had sort of in your early 20s and mid 20s wasn't the same as longevity, I
Right.
guess.
Not at all. Yeah, exactly. And also it was, for me, it was every arrow pointed towards, oh, he's going to be a success. Like all through school and stuff, that was where I shined. And since I didn't shine in the other things, like I was never going to be a mathematician, um, I guess so I was always, I never did put down the ball, right? I never ran with it. But then when I got into my mid 20s and I was like, granted, mind you, I'm sorry, little subparagraph. At the time, it felt like forever between those opportunities. It felt like a million years because when we're young, a year feels like 10 years.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
when I look back, I go, all of that happened between less than 10 years after I graduated high school. All of it. And it's
Right.
like, I mean, I really didn't realize how, I knew I was lucky. I mean, I knew I was getting these breaks, but I also, I don't know, it felt like, yeah, this is going to happen to me forever. And I know there are people I know who are infinitely more famous than I will ever be, who have shared with me that their dark night of the soul is when they realized, oh, this wasn't destiny. I got lucky. I
Uh-huh.
was good. I was really
Uh-huh.
good, right?
Uh-huh.
This is them talking. And I definitely had a thing, right? I know that. I'm not discounting that, but another 12 girls could have gotten that role. And then, and maybe
Yeah.
they would have become the star that I've become, or maybe not. But
Right.
this was not like carved on some stone tablets on a mountain somewhere, that this was inevitable. I got
Destined to be. Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunate, let's say. And
So
yeah,
then but you are still in your career. Like maybe
yeah.
the money isn't the same or the recognition on the street isn't quite the same, but I mean you're in sort of the what I call the actor middle. So after the first
Middle
booking,
Earth.
after the first, the first successes, then you enter this period where it's just the job, like, and you have to find a secondary income or a primary income in order to fill the gaps between the jobs. It is the waiting tables, the occasional jobs, the no clear trajectory, no clear ladder, this sort of your identity, who am I, sort of wobbles. It's sort of like the actor middle
Yeah.
is just the road that you walk. And I sort of,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's true. I'm in the middle place, but I think what's helped me, and maybe this is just me, but I hope maybe it's helped other people, is this thing that I call the choosing. My mother always said, I remember when I was young, like when I was, I don't know, let's say 12, you couldn't be friends with this guy, Jeff, unless you stole something from the 7-Eleven. So that was the thing. And so I wanted to be friends with this guy, Jeff. So I was like, I'm going to
hi,
steal a
Mallory.
comb. So I stole a comb and I came home and my mom was like, is this your comb? And I was like, I confess. I did it. I was done. I tried
Just
not.
confession.
Please don't take me away. Take me away now. So, and my mom was like, honey, she goes, don't you realize this is great news? She goes, you stole this to be friends with that guy, Jeff, and you realized that wasn't your nature. And so now you can choose never to steal again. Don't you realize this is great? Because no matter what happens in your life forevermore, peer pressure will never make you steal again because you've chosen that that's not who you are. This is like the best thing that ever happened. And then she took me back to the 7-Eleven and I went up to the counter with the same comb and I bought it. And
Oh,
so I got it solved. But I'll never forget that because my mom's words ring in my ear all the time about the choosing. We choose once you choose how, like, life is going to throw whatever life throws at us, right? Sometimes it throws
right.
roses, sometimes it throws fucking shit. And it's not really about what life is throwing, but who we're choosing to be while life is throwing whatever life is throwing.
Right.
That's what we have to something to say over, So that's how come I think what's gotten me through all the ups and downs and what has me still feel completely vital in the middle earth period,
Yeah.
like we're
The actor
middle
middle.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that I'm not measuring myself by where I am in my career. I'm measuring myself by am I being the guy I choose to be? Does that
That's
make
the
sense?
smart part. Yes, absolutely. I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Davos wants us to answer this question right now. Can you guys recommend a good casting agent for someone getting started? I did want to get to the end of Patrick's thought before we jumped into this sidebar because we were having a great conversation about the actor middle. I'm not certain if he means a casting director or an acting
Or an
agent.
agent, an
Yeah.
acting agent, I'll bet he means. We'll find out.
It totally depends on what market you're in and what branch of the industry you see yourself moving into. It's okay. It's now he's apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry. My first time here. All
No,
good. I
don't
promise you it's
apologize.
fine.
Ignore Benjamin. He's just likes to make people feel awkward and uncomfortable. No,
Oh my
Davos,
God.
if you want, you could go to. It depends on where you are. If you're in New York, go to the drama bookstore. They have all these great periodicals and books and things filled with the lists of the different both casting directors and shows that they cast and agents, and you can start to see which ones represent union, which ones don't, which ones are theater, which ones are film and TV, and you can kind of get the best thing, in my opinion, is to get a frame of reference. Build up
Yeah.
your frame of reference, and then it will become obvious to you how to, because there isn't just one agent or one casting director to recommend.
The thing, particularly with agents, what I have learned is that an agent who is good for me may not necessarily be good for somebody else. So it's one of those things of like, particularly with agents, I think you have to find your own way, and please use the community around you to find out who people like and who they don't like, and why they have feelings one way or another about an agent.
Yeah,
Casting
and
directors.
if I love that
Go
you'd
on.
work for free. I love that you'd work for free, Davos, but never say that again. And also, in Florida, there's all kinds of amazing regional theaters that
A
are union, and
lot
they
of theater
also
down there.
cast
Yeah.
non-union people, and they mix it up. And I would recommend going to every single one of those with an actual hard copy of your headshot and resume, and dropping it off there with whoever's does the casting or whoever manages the company, and say, I don't have any representation yet. I'd really love to get my foot in the door here and see what happens. I have heard of many stories like that working throughout my entire life. People do crazy, obvious, like, well, that's so obvious. Yeah. Believe it or not, they will open it and look at it. So, are there also two different jobs, being famous, being an actor? Some people aren't good at the job of being famous, like the actor Ben Browder. Those are two different jobs. Yeah. But it's about which one is your priority.
Yeah.
It's really
And
about
then
that. I mean,
it's
go ahead.
hang on. Okay. Davos, sorry, Davos wants to wrap. Wait, Davos has one more thing to say. Honestly, I find it so hard to get info from people. It's like they're scared to share info, even if we wouldn't compete for the same things. Yeah, that's just annoying.
I know what you mean.
One of my mottos is ready to share and happy to help. So
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Davis. It's like, I guess I could give you some ideas, but I mean, my agent is they're full up. They don't. No, but I think that that would be a great way if you really want to get your foot in the door. The easiest way is theater. Even though there's people are lined up to get in, everybody that wants to do this wants to do it, but I never believe in letting the numbers stop you. This is a thing of mine. There's two kinds of statistics. There's the kind of statistics that is in the, there's two kinds of odds, I meant to say. There's the statistical odds, right? I have a statistical odds of my getting that rent controlled penthouse in New York City are a quadrillion to one, right? But then there's the natural odds. This is the thing people leave out, which is my odds of getting that rent controlled penthouse in New York City are 50-50. I have 50% chance of success and 50% chance of failure, along with everyone else. Those are natural odds because someone's got to get it. It's just, so I always look at it like you've got just as much chance of being viable in this field as anybody. You just kind of got to look at it from that point of view, in my opinion.
There's a certain amount of delusion that I think that helps actors along a bit. You've really just got to believe in yourself. Nobody is going to do this career for you. You've got to do it yourself. And even if you have the most wonderful agent or the most wonderful manager, they're not going to care about your career as much as you do.
That's
so
true.
Really, the work of showing up and doing the work is yours. Nobody's going to do it for you. So yeah,
that's true. I love that. You got to be basically Davos, be delusional.
You've got to have a little bit of delusion saying, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and audition for that show because I can see myself in it.
Preferably, David, like a psychotic break would be good. If you could just completely
Please don't have a psychotic break.
Unhinged, that'd be ideal. That would be we would be like in your dust. You'd be like off to the races.
Oh, there you go. He agrees with you.
Yes, I know. I love the word too.
Dear. But going back to what we were talking about, the actor middle, I sort of feel like the actor middle is where the careers are actually built, because if you don't make it through that part, you're never going to stick around long enough for the success to happen, for the next step up to happen. And nobody celebrates the middle. Everybody passes through it, but we don't that's not what's getting the attention, of the mainstream.
I know, and yet it is that is the tribe. There are very few people at the top. So such a tiny little percentage of them. And what I like is that many of them are turning back around and going, oh, I just, somebody appointed me to an interview with Carrie Coon, who was just recently on Broadway in that play Bug by her husband, Tracy Letts. And she said on this interview, oh, I wouldn't be in this on Broadway if it weren't for my work in, Gilded Age and The Leftovers and White Lotus. And she goes, it wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be able to do it. Competition's too high. Even though I'm the playwright's wife, I still wouldn't be able to. She goes, it's because of those, and I know it. And was she wonderful? She was wonderful in that play. Yeah. She really was. Oh, we saw it together. But it was so, I loved that she said that. I thought that is so invaluable for actors looking up to her, to have her speak the truth like that. That is the truth. It used to be that actors just acted like, oh yes, of course it was me. They wrote the play for me. There was that kind of vibe to actor talk. And now it's like realer, and people are like, yeah, no, this shit's hard. The big movie stars are doing Broadway plays that they would never have touched before.
And similarly, movie stars are doing TV shows that would have been beneath them before. And oh my God, did you see that story about Cheyenne Jackson? Cheyenne Jackson, who, TV's, films, Broadway leading man, and hadn't earned enough from his TV and film work in a year to get his health insurance. You have to earn $25,000 in a year in order to earn health insurance through the union. And he wasn't going to make it. So he called up Kathy Bates and said, I'll take anything on Matlock. And he ended up doing a 3-line co-star on Matlock just so that he could tip over
make his insurance
to make his insurance.
And Kathy wasn't the only person he probably called, because he was doing the work that you got to do. Isn't that amazing? But there you go. That's tribe. That's actors looking out for each other.
And it's interesting because that sort of, we're talking about we've sort of, Cheyenne is not in this sort of part, but I mean, the actor middle, sort of, but after your first booking and before you're a household name, the actor middle, it feels like stagnation, but it's actually sort of, you're accumulating community, you're accumulating knowledge, you're accumulating resilience, and you're staying in the game. And I think that it's sort of important to be able to work through that. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger, you know?
Yeah, and that comes back to the thing I was saying earlier about the less you can feel like you're in a vacuum, the better.
Yeah.
There are times when I need to be on my own. I'm creating something, I'm painting a
Uh-huh.
painting, or I'm writing
Uh-huh.
something, and I just need my right? But
Solo.
what
Yeah.
fuels me is the tribe, for sure. It's really does. And I believe also it's a connection to, I don't know, the creative bandwidth of the universe. Like I really believe when we get around each other, there's more than just camaraderie. There's a kind of there's a bond between creatives.
But it's also an energy, like your energy feeds me, and it sort of builds,
Yeah.
like it builds to something. So this is
Yeah.
interesting, because where I sort of wanted to lead our conversation is to, so what does longevity actually require? I think it's easier when you have community, but I think on an individual level, it's sort of more about staying curious, adapting to, well, I guess feels personal because it's what I'm going through, but adapting to mediums that are less familiar. Um, that's sort of what I'm working on now, and sort of realizing is that I have to do my research in TV in order to be able to get very specific about what solution I can be.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm able to do that because I am staying curious, and I am trying to stay trainable and coachable. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm a late bloomer, always have been, but it's because I'm allowing myself to, I can say, oh, I've been on television, I've done a couple of films, I've been in 3 Broadway shows, I don't have anything left to learn. But that is not my angle. I am still curious. I am still trainable. I have always been a late bloomer, and I'm allowed to be a beginner all over again. I don't have to have it all figured out yet.
Yeah. In fact, if we don't give ourselves permission to, I have a friend who every first day of rehearsal, they say to the director, "Do I have permission to crash and burn?" And the directors always say, "Yes, I guess." They must, I'm assuming they always say yes, because um, that way that my friend is like, "Okay, good, I'm off the hook. I can I can really get vulnerable because I'm not
Oh,
gonna
well,
make
that part.
mistakes. I'm gonna make mistakes.
Right.
I'm gonna fail. I
Yeah.
mean, on my way to doing this, I'm gonna fail." I saw this really amazing um, film uh, by and about Juliette Binoche, the wonderful French, luminous French movie star.
Yeah.
And she had done a theater piece that took every bit of courage she had with this choreographer slash dancer. She came together with him and she said, "I want to do a theater piece that involves acting and dancing. And I'm not a dancer and you're not an actor. And I want us to meld these two things." And they worked for 6 months on this thing. And they developed this gorgeous piece, 1 hour piece, that they then toured all over the world, 165 performances, including BAM here in Brooklyn, and which I didn't get to see. And then, uh, when he came to see it, Robert Redford cornered her backstage and said, "You have to make this into a movie. You have to make this into a movie." And she was like, "Okay, okay, 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 okay." And then she realized he's right, because the creative journey, and they had footage from rehearsal. They had all this footage. Her sister had been the videographer. And so she was like, and she realized, oh, that's the next thing. This isn't over. And they made this film, and the whole first half of the film is the creation of this piece, and then the last half is the piece itself, which is amazing. They shot it over 4 performances, and you're left like with the most powerful dose of, you know creativity multivitamin, because you're watching it, man, from day one, when nobody knows even what to say or what to do, and they're literally going, whoa, what if I go like this? I mean, it's completely vulnerable, it's completely raw, it's completely like, I don't know. And it's Juliette fucking Binoche. And this guy, I forgot his name. I wish I could remember it. He's so wonderful. And he's got this huge career as a choreographer, dancer. And he's extraordinary. Anyway, I recommend it. What's it called? Oh, shit. I can't remember what it's called. Look it up. Just look it up, for fuck's sake, people. What am I, your fucking babysitter?
Oh my God.
Anyway, my point is, I was so inspired by that. Here I've been doing this for 45 years, 45 or 45, 6 years. And I'm, and I got so inspired by that. It's like, that's what you want. That's what you want. That's the juice you want. I wrote down, you said curiosity,
Yeah.
flexibility, durability, being coachable, and then I would add to that community and creative collaboration. Those are like the ingredients that make the recipe that is longevity. Can you think of anything else?
Sorry, I got distracted because TikTok was trying to kick us off our live.
Oh, well, I just
We've
said
been
the most
doing-
profound thing I've ever said in my whole life. That's all. But
no, I think that covers it. It covers it beautifully. I mean, and because longevity is the goal. And slow growth is real. I feel like being in the middle is normal. Like that feeling that you're behind is an illusion in a way, because the middle is normal. That is the career.
did you know Danny DeVito didn't get his big break until he was like 40 or something like that?
Oh, really?
He got cast on Taxi, which was a huge hit on TV for, I don't know, 6-7 years or something. And
Yeah.
he was so brilliant, and then he became a movie star. He didn't
Yeah.
get that break until he was about, I don't know, I think he was about 40. He was like this crusty guy that,
And he was this crusty guy.
yeah,
But
and
I mean,
then he had
imagine if
this
he thought-
massive career. He had this massive career.
Well, that's the thing. Became a huge movie star.
Yeah. Throw mama from
So
the tree.
you're not behind. You're just building something that takes time. How's
Yeah.
that? Does that suit you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that works for me. There's no such thing. If I feel like I'm behind, who am I comparing myself to? What? Behind whom? To what?
Who?
Right?
Right.
Behind
Exactly.
Behind whom? See, I said the whom.
Oh,
I have
well
an
done.
education.
Education. Can't remember the name of Juliette Binoche's film, but
Google it.
thank you. We'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode of the Working Actor NYC.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Look at
Like and subscribe wherever you're listening to us. Rate and review, or if you're watching us, please leave us a comment or send us a video question. We love those, and we'll get back into them in 2 weeks' time. See you then.